In the magical land of Enchantia, there lived a young witch named Willow. Now, Willow was a fantastic witch in almost every way. She could fly her broomstick in graceful loops and daring dives. Her potions were the talk of the town, bubbling with vibrant colors and fantastic effects, and she could talk to animals from the tiniest field mouse to the grandest griffin. But Willow had a secret, a rather embarrassing one for a witch. She couldn't spell. Not in the can't spell cat way, but in the can't cast spells way. Every time she tried to cast a spell, something would go spectacularly wrong. She'd wave her wand, say the magic words, and instead of a beautiful shower of stars, she'd get a shower of stinky socks. She once tried to turn a pumpkin into a carriage for the village fair. A classic spell, right? Well, she ended up with a giant, wobbly turnip that smelled faintly of feet. Her spellbook was full of crossed-out words and smudges. The other young witches and wizards would giggle behind their hands when she tried to join in their spell practice. "There goes Willow the Wonky," they'd whisper. It made her cheeks burn and her heart feel heavy. One day, the annual Grand Witching Contest was announced. The grand prize was the coveted golden wand, a wand so powerful it could make even the most difficult spells feel like child's play. Every witch in Enchantia dreamed of winning it, and Willow was no exception. "If I had that wand," she thought, "I'd finally be able to cast spells properly. No more stinky socks, no more wobbly turnips." She pictured herself on the stage, casting a dazzling spell that would make everyone gasp in awe. The thought made her feel both excited and terrified. Determined, Willow decided she would enter the contest. Her best friend, a wise old owl named Hoot, hooted doubtfully from his perch on her bookshelf. "It's not the wand that makes the witch, Willow," he said, his big yellow eyes blinking slowly. "It's the witch that makes the wand." Willow just sighed. "You don't understand, Hoot. I need this." The first challenge in the contest was a simple transfiguration spell. Turn a teacup into a toad. Easy peasy, right? Willow watched as the other contestants waved their wands. And soon the air was filled with the sound of ribbit, ribbit. One by one, teacups transformed into perfectly green, bumpy toads. Then it was her turn. She took a deep breath, raised her wand, and shouted the incantation. A puff of purple smoke erupted, and when it cleared, sitting on the table wasn't a toad, but a tiny teapot wearing a top hat. The crowd burst into laughter. Willow's face went as red as a tomato, and she wished the ground would swallow her whole. Feeling completely defeated, she ran from the contest grounds and hid in her favorite spot in the Whispering Woods. Tears streamed down her face. Hoot flew down and landed gently on her shoulder. "I told you, Willow," he cooed softly. "The golden wand isn't the answer." "The answer is in here," he said, tapping her spellbook with his wing. "And in here," he added, gently tapping her head. "But I've tried," she sobbed. "I practice and practice, and it never works." Hoot looked at her spellbook, then at her. "Let's try a different way," he suggested. "Instead of trying the big, flashy spells, let's start with the very, very basics. One word at a time." So that's what they did. They didn't start with turning pumpkins into carriages. They started with the simplest spell in the book, Lumos, to create a small ball of light. Willow took a deep breath, focused hard, and whispered, "Lumos." A tiny, faint spark flickered at the tip of her wand and immediately went out. It wasn't much, but it wasn't a sock. Again, Hoot encouraged. "Lumos." This time, the light stayed for a whole second before vanishing. Day after day, Willow and Hoot practiced. They spent hours on just that one word. Lumos, Lumos, Lumos. She practiced her wand movement, the flick of her wrist, the way she pronounced the word. Slowly, the spark grew brighter and lasted longer. Soon, she could create a ball of light that shone as brightly as a firefly. Then she moved on to the next spell, Wingardium Leviosa, to make things float. Her first few tries barely lifted a feather, but she didn't give up. She practiced and practiced, her voice growing more confident, her wand movements more precise. She levitated feathers, then leaves, then small stones, until she could make her entire spellbook float around the room. She worked her way through the first chapter of her spellbook, mastering each simple spell before moving to the next. It was slow, it was sometimes frustrating, but for the first time things were working. She wasn't just saying words. She was understanding them, feeling the magic flow through her. She learned that it wasn't just about the words, but about focus, intention, and endless, endless practice. Weeks went by, and Willow was so engrossed in her practice that she almost forgot about the grand witching contest. One evening, Hoot reminded her, "The final round is tomorrow, Willow." Her heart skipped a beat. She hadn't been practicing for the contest, she'd just been practicing for herself. "I can't go back," she said. "They'll just laugh at me again." "Will they?" Hoot asked. "You wanted to cast a spell that would make everyone gasp in awe." "I think you're ready." Looking at the steady glowing ball of light hovering in her hand, Willow felt a flicker of confidence. Maybe Hoot was right. The next day, she walked onto the contest stage. Her hands were a little shaky, but she held her head high. The final challenge was to perform a spell of personal expression, a spell that showed the witch's true talent. The other contestants created fireworks, conjured magical beasts, and made flowers bloom out of thin air. The crowd ooghed and awed. Then it was Willow's turn. The crowd went quiet, a few whispers of Willow the Wonky rippling through the audience. She ignored them. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and thought about her journey. She thought about the stinky socks, the wobbly turnip, and the tiny teapot in a top hat. She thought about the long days in the woods with Hoot, the frustration, and the tiny spark that grew into a bright light. She raised her wand. She didn't shout a complicated incantation. She just began to weave together the simple spells she had practiced so tirelessly. She started with lumos, creating dozens of glowing orbs that floated up and arranged themselves like stars in a night sky. Then, with Wingardium Leviosa, she lifted fallen leaves from the stage, making them dance and twirl in the air like a ballet of autumn colors. She used a simple water conjuring spell to create a shimmering, misty curtain, and a gentle wind spell to make it swirl and dance. She wasn't trying to turn anything into a toad or a carriage. She was just using the simple magic she had mastered, combining them in a way that was uniquely hers. The result was breathtaking. It was a beautiful, swirling, glowing spectacle of light, wind, and water, a dance of pure, controlled magic. The crowd was silent, not with ridicule, but with absolute wonder. When she finished, there was a moment of stunned silence, and then the entire audience erupted in applause. It was the loudest, most genuine cheer she had ever heard. Willow didn't win the golden wand that day. A witch who conjured a miniature living dragon did, but Willow didn't care. As she walked off the stage, the head judge, a very old and powerful wizard, stopped her. He smiled, his eyes twinkling. "That was one of the finest displays of foundational magic I have ever seen," he said. "A powerful wand is a fine tool, young witch, but true magic comes from a powerful will and dedicated practice. You have both." From that day on, no one ever called her Willow the Wonky again. She became known as Willow the Weaver for the way she wove simple spells into works of art. She still made mistakes sometimes. Everyone does, but she knew that the secret to magic wasn't a special wand or a secret word. The secret was to just keep trying to practice and to never give up. Because as Hoot wisely said, it's not the wand that makes the witch, it's the witch that makes the wand. And Willow had finally become a truly magnificent witch. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this little story. Remember, anything you want to be good at takes time and effort. So keep practicing, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tailies from our little corner of the world. See you next time.